Hey, Inside Crypto fans, this is Crane here with the Inside Crypto podcast. Hope you are doing well. It has been a week, and in the last 24 hours, the news has been pretty astonishing. The Fed has said just one interest rate cut for this year, and that is just maybe not unexpected for those of you who've been following as we've been talking about macro news. But at the same time, the markets have not taken it well. Bitcoin currently at $68,075. If we look at the CME Fed Watch tool, there's 48 days until the next meeting, and with a 90% chance of no change. Again, we already know that because the Fed has said, yes, there are only going to be one rate cut for this year. And the question is why? And I think we think about what's been happening in the world with election news in the US, with the European elections swinging more to the right. And not to mention, the Fed has been unable to hit that 2% target. So they're like, okay, we have to keep it at this sort of high elevated rate. So this is an article from CoinDesk by Stephen Alpher. Fed sees just one rate cut this year. Bitcoin gives up session gains. Yeah, last week, Bitcoin was at 71, closing on $72,000. And this week, it has come back down. But again, this is part of cryptocurrency. This is part of all the things we've talked about before, that traditional investors very much influence the way the Bitcoin price is moving these days. And in a traditional sense, when you see the Fed saying, yes, only one rate cut this year, that makes things sound negative, especially from a macroeconomic perspective. And then the Fed held policy steady. This is from yesterday's meeting, but now expects just one rate cut this year versus a projection of 3 rate cuts previously. So I think ending 2023, the market were looking good. You're right. We had the Bitcoin spot ETF and everything was looking rosy and shiny. But then looking at this year, looking at horrible flooding in Brazil, looking at heat waves in India affecting food and other sorts of things, we've seen commodities prices go up. Some highlights include the Federal Open Market Committee of the US Federal Reserve Wednesday held its benchmark Fed's fund rate range at 5.25 to 5.5%. But its economic outlook now calls for just one 25 basis point rate cut this year. 25 basis point means 0.25%. In recent months, there has been modest further progress towards the committee's 2% inflation objective, said the FOMC in its policy statement. The modest wording is notable because the previous policy statement complained of a lack of progress towards lower inflation. Updating its economic projections, the Fed's median expectation for the Fed's fund rate at year-end 2024 is now 5.1% versus 4.6% 3 months ago. Yeah, that is a big change, right? There you can see just pricing in that one rate cut. This means that the central bank is now anticipating just one 25 basis point rate cut this year versus 75 previously, 75 being 3 rate cuts, right? The 2025 year-end Fed funds expectation is now 4.1%. So that means 2025 is looking better, suggesting 100 basis points in rate cuts next year. Now, this is an if, right? I don't see the economic system, the global economic system changing. I don't see inflation changing. Prices are still high for the average American or the average European or the average African. I have family all over the world and friends, and speaking to them right now, prices haven't come down. Prices are going to remain elevated, and I think lots of economic pundits have suggested that. Crypto has taken a beating. What does that mean for the future? I don't know exactly, but I think it definitely warrants you paying attention to how the global economic climate is changing. That being said, we did have, I think, Canada cut their interest rates, and the ECB is supposed to cut theirs in June. That's good, but America, when they cut rates, that doesn't influence the global economy. We'll see how it goes, but I think one interest rate cut is still good, right? As I spoke about on previous calls, our research team was like, yeah, probably maybe no interest rate cuts this year, but at least one in theory for sure should happen. Hopefully it does. And yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed today's news bite. Stay tuned for another one coming Saturday, and see you later.